Experience. Uh, I have experience of translating. Most of my translation was of non-literary nature. We have organizations working in children's and mental health. So I used to do a lot of translation work of these NGOs. And children's stories I have translated. And this was the first book which I got to translate of a literary nature. And to tell you frankly, when I read the book, it was for I teach in a college, and for our BA we had this book for third year BA. And when I read it, normally when you read anything, you either love it or you like it. I hated the book. I hated the book meaning the story was such, it was very complicated. It was, I was never part of such culture. I had never come across such people. And yet, all the time when I was thinking, or I would meet someone, these characters from these books would, just keep coming in my mind. So, though I did not like the plot, somewhere they were continuously going on. And then Mr. Pundalik Naik, he was convener of Konkani section of Sahitya Akademi. He said, would you like to translate something? And I said immediately yes. And I thought that if I translate this book, I may be able to, add value to our TYBA students, and I'll be able to discuss with them and all that. And then I decided and I sat down. And when I sat down to translate, I will just read the first para, how it comes. It really floored me actually. The plot is, it just, translation is so difficult. Before I started with translation, I had done my little research on Shashitai, and her writings were, in most of the reviewers had said that the novel That Long Silence is a book of feminist writing. But as I started getting glimpses and insight into the story, I felt otherwise. In fact, when I met Shashitai at Goa Literary Festival, I asked her whether her story is about feminism, and she said no. It was just my anger and dark thoughts that I gave vent to. And while translating the book, that when she spoke about seared through me. Her story is about middle class ethos, middle class mentality, and middle class struggle of keeping up pretext and being hypocritical. When I sat down to translate the work, I realized I couldn't proceed. The plot of the story had hidden personalities with their emotions, their backgrounds, and different cultures. It was difficult for me to identify with characters and their culture. They seemed unknown to me. I had thought translating this story would be like a piece of cake, but it was very challenging. I struggled with it for almost a year and realized something was amiss. I had read the story twice, thought that was not enough. So I read it once, twice, thrice, and after I read it for the fifth time, I got the grip of the plot. This book has 4 parts. One, where Jaya, the protagonist, talks about her life, her dilemma, about her husband, her memories about the marriage, etc. Second and third part deals with different relatives from both the sides of the family and delicate networking of the family. Her interaction with them, her views about them, and the self. The last part is about ruthlessness, ruthless self-searching and soul-searching that she does within herself. When the author tells her story, it is laced with profound philosophy. Her opening paragraph starts like this. To achieve anything, to become anything, you have got to be hard and ruthless. Yes, even if you want to love the whole world, you have got to stop loving individual human beings first. If they love you and they bleed, when you show them you don't love them, not specially, well, so much the worse for them. There was just no other way of being a saint, a painter, a writer. Actually, this paragraph floored me and I thought I will not be able to do it. And I told my husband I am not doing it. I cannot do it. This is very, very difficult. Because in English, it is very cryptic. You can just with one word, a writer or a painter. But in Konkani or any other regional language, we require to describe everything. Then my husband said to me and said, this is how you can translate it. He showed it to me. I didn't like his translation. I said, no, this is not what I want. So I again sat down and I think I read the book almost 10 times. I went to, some of our translators, well-known translators, Mukesh Thadit and Ramesh Veluskar. I spoke to them. I again spoke with my husband. And then finally, after I read it 8th time, I realized that, okay, I am getting little grip of the story. The story revolves around a middle-class homemaker Jaya, who is very happy in her little nest of Hum Do Hamare Do, and is suddenly shaken up from her dream world when her husband tells her that he may be arrested in a corruption case and therefore needs to go undercover. That is the time Jaya starts thinking to herself. The small little tiny doubts that used to gnaw at her surface. She realizes the intricate hypocrisy that underlines her society. The ponderings during the exile period makes her come out of the cocoon, and that she had woven around herself. Jaya, the protagonist, goes through an emotional metamorphosis from being Jaya to Suhasini and Jaya again. And this whole thing, the character which is there, goes on and on about not only herself, but about her family. The characters in the novel were basically from Karnataka, but some of them had Marathi background. I was translating the novel in Konkani. I wanted the novel to have a Konkani flavor. So while translating, instead of doing literal translation, I opted for lateral translation. Because if I had done literal translation, that flavor of Konkani would not have come. To quote few, the protagonist says, the illusion of happiness, yes, I had to let it go. So if I had to just say something, in Konkani, word to word, it would have been, something like that. But I felt I should not do it, and I said it, Khoshes of Bomado, Maka to Forza Spotter. Meaning, balloon of happiness, yes, I had to break it. Similarly, there are other equivalent things which I felt that it should not be word to word but lateral. Also, there were some things which I did not, sometimes we have no meaning for it. Like, for example, food, drinks, who cares? It has actually no meaning and you can't translate it. So at that time, I decided, let me translate it from sense to sense. So I did avoid Swapna Konan Pallati or cultured damn. Sanskari Thakman. So I felt that the rhythm and the flow of English also came in Konkani language. Another best example is author's note on one page about how English and regional languages are different, which my earlier contemporaries also have spoken. That in our language we have kaka, mama, or aji, ajo. Whereas in her note she says before you start reading the novel she explains. They explain the relation like appa and ai are Jaya's father and mother. Her paternal grandmother is aji. Her father's brothers are kaka. As a translator, I realized I need not translate the author's note because all of us across the country understand these relations perfectly. You need it only in English. The most difficult task, however, was to get the flow of a narration and the meaning of what the author wanted to say. Interpreting and carbon copying what Shashi Thais wanted to say was a difficult task. At times, I felt that I had failed to capture what she wanted to say. At all such places, I would put a question mark and keep going back to it till I got the essence of the whole concept. Luckily, since the plot had Indian and regional background, translating the cultural nuances was not difficult. After completing the translation, I went to my TYBA class and read it out to them. And as I was reading, I was looking at them and I realized that okay, I'm coming, I'm getting, because they were understanding the meaning. And after the class got over, some of them came and told me, teacher, now we have understood what is the book about. The most difficult task was editing of the book. I realized that Sahitya Akademi has finance earmarked for typewriting, typesetting, but no financial provision for editing. Luckily, my husband promised to do the editing. I was wondering whether he could spare time as an editor of TV news channel. But once he sat down to look at the book, he was mesmerized by it. He devoted his entire spare time for the book. But he's very meticulous translator, so he would question my phrases, use of my words, dissect the interpretation. But luckily, because I had read the book up 10 times, I could face his queries and give my justifications. In fact, one day my daughter said, "Is the book going to get over or you are going to divorce?" So much we used to fight. Sometimes I would agree with my colleagues. He managed to iron out lots of lumps and bumps in the translation, and I felt thankful that I had my own editor to enhance the quality of my translation. Once my book was ready, I immediately sent to Sahitya Akademi because I was already late by 3 years. Shri Prakash Bhratamarekar ji really showed a lot of patience with my delay. Sahitya Akademi doesn't organize any functions to release the books for obvious reasons. Maybe the number of publications they do are too many, and it may be difficult to handle release functions. But I was fortunate to have a grand release function of the book, thanks to Department of English of Goa University. Madam Dr. Kiran Burkule had organized a special seminar on the book. She called it Silence to Dirgha Maunate, a voyage of discovery. There were 4 presentations by the students who had studied the book and also teachers who were teaching it. All of them had also read my translation. Undergraduate students, Antara Pillai, Ambika Kamath, Shwetlana Fernandez, and Glenys Mendonca. I was nervous because it was just not a book release but my postmortem. Rightly so, not that they praised me throughout. They also criticized me. They had reservations about terminology I had used in some places and felt my interpretation in some places may not be correct. But it was more positive than negative, and that was the reward. All of them said we could understand English novel better when we read the Konkani translation. This was a surprise because the normal impression is that translated work can never give justice to the original. The essence of the original can never be translated. But here it was opposite. They felt closer to translation than the original. They understood the positivity within the book better. To put it in Antara Pillai's word, to say that the translator of Shashi Deshpande's Sahitya Akademi award-winning novel, That Long Silence, has done an excellent job would be an understatement. Dirgha Maunate is not just a journey from one language to another, but a journey that meets the cultural barriers created due to language of source text, adding more authenticity to the target text. I felt overwhelmed and elated. When I analyze, I feel it is because the culture portrayed in the novel is Indian and it can be justifiably expressed best only in Indian language. What I received yesterday was an award, but this seminar was a revelation, sakshatkar, and a real reward for my long journey. To sum up this journey of my translation, I would say literary translation is very difficult because the translator has to understand the style, flow of the narration, meaning and proper interpretation of the content, get equivalence or parallel terminology, understand the cultural ethos, and then translate it in such a way that the essence of the original is retained and is also amalgamates with the culture of the target language. Many people feel translator's job is very simple and easy task. I feel sometimes we the translators are given stepmotherly treatment by many publications. When it is translated, name of the translator is not put on the front page, but Sahitya Akademi honors the translators. Some of the publishers also don't provide sufficient fund for translations. For example, in Goa, Department of Art and Culture buys books of only original authors. No financial provision to buy translations. But that's why no publishers come forward to publish translations. On the other hand, we say that in today's multilingual global world, translation is very important. Translation is a bridge between communities, societies, cultures, etc. Jose Saramago says, writers make national literature, while translators make universal literature. Then why there is no consideration for translators and translations? I feel the institutions that deal with letters and art should consider some of these humble suggestions. Along with typewriting and typesetting, please make financial provision for editing. Editing is a crucial part of translation. Give equal status to translator by printing his or her name along with the original author. Allow the translators to express their views on the front page as we allow original authors to do so. If provisions are made to purchase original books, let there be encouragement to buy translations also. This will encourage publishers to come forward to publish translations. Before I sign off, I would also like to quote Paul Auster. Translators are the shadows, heroes of literature, the often forgotten instruments that make it possible for different cultures to talk to one another, who have enabled us to understand that we all, from every part of the world, live in one world. Thank you. And before I sit, I would like to thank Sahitya Akademi for awarding me, and congratulations to all my fellow awardees. Thank you very much.
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद प्रशांति जी।